Welcome back to Couples Talk. As normal, we talk about issues that are affecting married couples. We try to give our own perspective. We're not professionals. Well, you are a certified professional. I'm just a husband. And we talk about issues that affects marriage. We try to share our honest opinion. We try to share the things that we've learned over the years. We've now been married, what, 11 years? Yeah, I got it right, maybe for the first time in several years. But tonight, we have an interesting topic: love and respect in marriage. It's something that for years I've always wondered why I responded a certain way when I felt like if I'm being a bit disrespectful. Why have I been so sensitive to this? I think over years, most person will accept that women need and desire love. So to me, that wasn't that surprising. But I figured from a male perspective, that is probably the same thing. I want to be loved, but not that men don't want to be loved, but what they crave most is respect. And they may respond in different ways. At the same time, a woman may feel less inclined to give respect if she's not getting love, right? Um, what's your take, sweetheart?
Well, that's one thing that it took me a while to learn as well, because as women, we automatically give love because we want to receive love. And for those who actually watched our episode last week, we talk about the love languages, which shows that we give what we expect to receive, which is the same way with love and respect. So we typically give what we expect to receive. So a man will give respect, quote unquote, but he may not give love in a particular way a woman wants to receive it. So she thinks he doesn't love her. And vice versa, a woman would give love, but not necessarily respect. And then, of course, he feels disrespected.
Yeah, so we wanted to share some points as it relates to how can you better show your wife that you love her. And from Charlene's perspective, you're going to be sharing one.
How can you show your husband how you that you respect him?
All right. So we're going to alternate some of these points. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. We'll be happy to, even if not during the live, we will be happy to come back and answer those questions. If you have a topic that you want us to get into, you could always share it as well. So the first thing we want to look at is love, how to show your wife that you love her, how to show a woman that you love her. And number one, show affection and attention. You know, men have been grown up over time to be macho, to not to show so much emotion. But when we're courting, we have a good job of being suave, and we have all the nice words, and we find all the lyrics and things like that. And we get married and we think, well, we've won her. We have accomplished it. So all the sweet words, they get very scarce. It only saved for birthdays and Valentine, or maybe when we want to get some. But we have to now be intentional about showing our wife that we love her, that she is special, that, put down the phone, turn off the TV, take a specific time and just look at her, give her your full attention, that you're listening to her. So it says love in marriage is a form of communication. It's and it could be communicated in so many ways if we are just to take the time to focus on our wife. It says women perceive love and respect through physical touch with their husband, such as hugs and kisses, cheeks on their foot, not necessarily the lips. It shouldn't always lead to sex. I mean, sometimes it should, and she probably might want it, but you will get more signals from her if she wants that to lead to that point. But there's just times she's walking in the house, she just passed you, just grab her, just hold her, just give her a kiss as she's passing by, just to let her know that you still value her, you still love her, you crave that time with her. When she's talking to you, take a pause, just listen, just give her that full attention. Put down your phone and just give that attention to her. And it just makes her know that what she's saying, what she's doing is important.
Respect to a man. Appreciate his desire to to analyze and counsel.
I don't know if they heard you, sweetheart. Remember, you're very soft spoken.
Appreciate his desire to analyze and counsel. Many times as a woman, we think we need to control the situation. We may not necessarily trust the man to do the right thing. So we figure we are going to take charge because, I mean, how dare we let him make these decisions because he might steer us wrong. Maybe he made a mistake before, so we decide we're going to do it this time. But what we need to realize from what this point is saying, appreciate his desire to analyze and counsel. Sometimes he has words of wisdom. Sometimes he wants to share words of wisdom with you. And sometimes you have to appreciate that that is what he wants to do. He wants to take care of you and protect you through his words, through his counsel, through his advice. And many times when we allow him to do his manly duties, to be the man that he is, that we realize how much better off that we are in particular situation. Because there's some situations where I might have an idea of what it is I want to do, but I would still reach out to Joshua and ask him, what do you think? Because I value his advice. And depends on what he says, it might make sense. I might say, hey, I can incorporate what he said into maybe what I was thinking and act it out because to me, I value his advice and counsel. I personally believe he's supposed to take care of me. That's my view. I don't know about this thing about where I'm supposed to take charge. I married him because I wanted him to take care of me. I believe that God sent this man to take care of me because God takes care of his people and his church, and that is what I want. Everyone may not want the same thing. I'm a confident, independent woman, but I want to know that I have a man to take care of me. That's how I feel. So I appreciate when he gives me advice. I appreciate when he gives me counsel because I know that he's interested in my well-being.
I like this point that you also provided, just as a guidance for us as men. We like to fix things, and we can't always read your mind if this is a situation where you want us to give you a solution or you really just want us to listen. So I like this suggestion that you put as a reminder for you, which is tell me up front. Tell me up front, sweetheart, I needed to listen about this case at work, so I could put my mind at ease, my thinking hat could go in the back and I could just listen. I know up front you just want me to listen and you don't want to, because if you don't say it, our brain is already thinking fix. You want to salute. Let me help my wife. Let me tell her what to do. Let me tell go walk across the room and do this to her, or so we're already thinking protection mode, protect my wife, give her a solution. That's why she's asking me, and we feel accomplished in doing so. But it might be that you just want me to
wanted to listen.
Just wanting to listen. So tell me up front. So that's a suggestion, woman. Tell us up front. If you just want us to listen, you don't want to get a solution, tell us. And we will calm down, we'll listen, we'll give you advice because okay, sweetheart, I understand. I understand. And that helps us. All right. So the second one, as it relates to how you could show love to a woman, she wants you to be open, or she wants you to open up to her. This is a tough one for us. We've grown up to keep those vulnerability inside. We're not supposed to show weakness. That's what we've been told. All of our life, we're growing up. They said, don't cry. Get up, be a man. And now then all of a sudden you're being told you need to share your feelings, you need to say how you're feeling, you're feeling insecure, you're feeling, like you're not accomplished, and here's your wife that seems to have it all together, seems to be confident, you hear her on the phone with her girlfriends and she's ready to beat down somebody else, and here it is that you're feeling vulnerable, you're feeling like you're not getting it right at work, and you're thinking and you're trying to solve it in your head, and your wife is seeing it. She's looking at you across the room, and then she asks you those dreaded questions. Honey, is everything okay? And you're like, yeah, everything is fine. And she knows it's not fine. And then she's going to ask you again, you sure it's fine? And then you now get defensive, like, why are you asking me all these questions? Or why are you trying to pry? You start closing up. But we got to recognize the person across the room from us wants to help us. This is the person that she's more willing to say, talk to me. That's just who she is. She wants to know, because here's the problem. A woman will fill in the gaps. Bro, her mind will run 10 steps ahead. She probably is thinking of problems that don't even exist. She can't believe that you're just worried about that promotion at work. And that's what's stressing you. But she starts wondering, I wonder if I'm getting too fat and he's noticing. I'm wondering if I'm not looking good enough. I wonder if it's the woman next door he's looking at. Or maybe it's, are we going to lose our house? She starts thinking of all the problems, and it wasn't that. And all she needed was you to tell her, hey, what's going on? Why are you looking sad? So we're saying it's not natural for us, and it's hard. It took me a while to be able to open up to Charlene, to be vulnerable, and to say, you know, I'm feeling like I'm failing at work, and I don't know what to do. And she sometimes will start to ask me questions to make me recognize it's not as bad as I think. Or, you know, I don't know if I'm having it together, or, you know, I'm feeling sad in some respect because of this or so on. And that's not easy, I know, but it's something that is going to help your wife to feel you love her, if you could at least tell her what you're feeling. So a woman wants to talk about things in order to find solutions together. She's also someone that's solution giver, but she likes to talk it through. She longs for your love, which she experienced when you open up, and to be honest with her. Be honest about your feelings. And I know that's hard. I'm not saying that's easy. She's expressive and responsive by nature. That's who she is. Recognize that's when she's asking if you're okay, you know, unpack it for her as much as you can. All right. Over to you, Charlotte.
Respect to a man. Appreciate his desire to protect and provide. That is another big one. For years, I attended a particular church, will not call its name, and the woman, every time we discuss about husband and wife and God and relationship, and use the word submit, and they go into Ephesians, the men had issues because they didn't understand their role and function, and the woman would start to attack. And all the Bible was talking about, even when it highlight that, was when he talked about submitting and a married wife, husband taking care of his wife. He was talking about a man, that was a man was created with his desires to protect and provide. And many times we want to take it away from the man because we think we need to be independent. Many of you would be listening and saying, but oh, you don't know my experience, you don't know what I'm going through. I'm going to highlight, I grew up in a single parent home. My parents are divorced. My mother had to do it all by herself. But one thing she always taught is never take away a man's strength or value from him, or belittle him because you're a woman, because you grew up in a single parent home. So we understood the value of what a man is and his role and function in the home, even though we didn't grow up with our father. So we all got married and we understood a man has his purpose and place, and God designed him to do a particular thing, and God allowed him and creating that he's supposed to provide and protect us as women. So we accepted that, and it became easier for us to do it because that's what we were taught. Interestingly, coming from a single parent home, not that she means that you're incomplete, because I know some would say I could do it without a man. That's fine if you want to do it without a man, but be contented in that decision. Don't think because you're getting a man means that you're less than a woman. It just means that sometimes we just are designed to be protected and taken care of. There's nothing wrong with it. So you shouldn't belittle that form of thinking. You should embrace it, because who wants to be fighting a battle all the time? You know, easy it is for me. Sometimes I could just relax and know he's going to fight and protect me. And you might be thinking, so what? But I just don't want to do it all the time. It's exhausting. Plus, it makes you angry and frustrated when you have to do that. When I can say, he will have to do it because that's his role and function. And trust me, see, when you allow him to play his part, you're going to get the best out of him.
You know, it's a lot of times persons read Bible in snippets, or the ones that they want to use to make a point. And especially this text that speaks about biblical hierarchy and husbands and wife, and it's now it creates so much fight. One side, on the feminist side, will speak to the issues that this is having, and men over time, or evil or ill thinking men has abused it over years that has now made it appear tainted. But if you read on, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 and 26 says, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing of water through the word. This speaks of a high responsibility that men have to take care of their wife. And it's less about a man being superior to his wife, but a greater responsibility that a man has been created and born with a responsibility to protect his wife, to provide for his wife. And when a man could embrace that and truly understand that, I think it becomes easier for a woman to allow the man to protect her. Allow him to take this role, even though she can protect herself, even though she can support herself, even though she probably is working for more money than him, but she still allows him to feel like a man and reminds him that, honey, I love the fact that you take care of me. And don't take that away from him. Even when he tries to buy you a gift and you could buy it yourself, you accept it in love because you know this makes him feel like a man, and it allows you to be comfortable under the protection of your husband. And it's not that men have not abused this. That doesn't make the biblical principle that God wanted for us wrong. Are you saying that if you do this, you may not get abused if the man is ill-minded? That probably will happen. But hear what? Even if you do, if this man is evil thinking, it wouldn't have mattered. He will still abuse that because he is not where God wants you to be. And that's the first thing. You got to make sure that this person, and especially if you're someone preparing for marriage, you want to make sure this person has that mentality and recognizing that you are valuable and he will put down his life for you. If something is knocking outside, you shouldn't have to be looking at each other wondering who's going to go and check. He got to know that's his responsibility to go check and see if there's a noise outside and not have to flip a coin and say, maybe you'll go check, honey. And that. No. That's your responsibility. If there's an issue there, God said that he laid down his life for the church. So we as man need to be able to stand up. And even if it means to die to protect our wife and our children, that's our responsibility. That was your point. I feel like was that your point? I feel like I'm just taking over your point.
Yeah,
I mean, oh my good. All right, I'm gonna step back. So I'm at number 3 here. Love the woman by understanding and don't try to fix. Just listen. This is hard. I know this is hard. I mean, as men, we're just wired to want to find a solution. And don't hate us for it. You know, appreciate the fact that we want to help. It's not, a lot of times I know you just want us to listen, and we got to do better at that. And we got to, you know, refrain to talking less and listening more, right? You know, women are smart. And I think that's what it sometimes makes them feel like when you jump in and you try to fix it, it's like you're letting them think that they can't fix their problem. But they're capable. At times, they just want someone to give them the confidence to do what they know what they have to do. A lot of times they know they have to address this issue. A lot of times they know that female at work that is stressing them out, that boss that they need to stand up to. They just need their husband to support them. They just need their husband to know that I know what I got to do. I know how I need to say it to her. I know how I need to address that. I just need to know you have my back. And I have a shoulder to cry on. If it don't go the way I think it might go, that you're going to be there for me. And you just want me to know that I will listen to you. So that's probably what is just here. Just so that we can try not to fix everything. There are times that we just need to listen.
Respect to a man. Show appreciation by using a loving tone. So, you know, many times we conversing and we might be irritated by something he didn't do. So the tone becomes very antagonistic or motherly, and then he gets defensive or irritated because why are you speaking to me that manner? But what we need to remember is, see, when it is you talk to a man in a particular tone, you get a particular reaction. As they always say, I can't remember the exact phrase about something but getting things done better with honey than with vinegar. Sometimes we need to get our tongues to behave as if it's laced with honey. So we can say a particular statement to him where even though when you say it, you want him to do something, but at least he's hearing loving tones. Or even in a case of when he did do something, you tell him, because many times we fail to say something when it's done. We only say when things aren't being done, which is a really, really sad factor because we like to focus too much on the negative. So speak to him in a loving tone. Trust me, you could get a lot more done with him if you talk in that particular manner. So it says when you think about building respect in a marriage, it starts with how words are said. A man can tell right away when he's being talked down on or if his wife is just not into him anymore. So if you talk to him in a particular manner, he's going to sense it. He's going to respond and you say why he's responding like that. I'm speaking to him. But you're talking down to him, so he's not going to sit down and take it. He's just going to shut you off. So focus on speaking positive words to him. And if it is that you have an issue where you need to discuss with him because you're angry or upset about something, then even take the time to talk about it in a calm manner, because angry words get you nowhere. A still tongue keeps a wise head, but grievous words stir up anger. Always try to keep that in mind when it is you're having conversations with your husband.
The fourth one there, how to love your wife, your woman, loyalty. She needs to know you're committed. Over time, everyone, we started out saying, I do. I'm going to love you for better, for worse, till death do us part. But she's also looking at you. You know, the longest stares at the pretty co-worker or her friends, you know, and you know, all these things. She started looking at her figure. It's not the way it was when we got started. Are you gonna love me still? You know, she starts noticing the gray hairs that are coming out, and there are persons that are looking, longing at you. Are you going to show her that she's prettier, she's as sexy as she used to look? Are you reassuring her that, sweetheart, my eyes are for you? Here, you know, today it's played out in the tabloids. It don't matter who you are. It don't seem like you have enough money. Marriages are falling apart. You're seeing Jeff Bezos, the guy that owned Amazon, divorced. You're then seeing Bill Gates, divorced. You look around and from top to bottom, marriages just seem to be falling apart, and you're wondering if these guys have all this money and their wife is supermodels and people are still divorcing, you know, should I start worrying? You can't allow those gaps and those thoughts to come in. Those are the times that you need to reassure her that you love her. Reassure her that no matter what, I'm going to be here. You love her more than the way she looks. It's about who she is and about what you've been able to build together. And that first have to come from you. You got to believe that. You got to recognize that the grass is really not greener on the other side. It don't matter what, because what you've built. No, I always love the biblical representation that says, when you got married, it says two became one. There are times that I didn't fully appreciate this until that you have real problems. Until you got into a stage where you're seeing that when you are not in sync, you feel like a part of you is being ripped from. It's almost like you glued something and you're trying to unstick it. Things get damaged when you're trying to bring that apart. So don't take it for granted. Don't take your marriage and what you've built together and all the years and all the fights that you've overcome and all the makeup for a cheap thrill. It's not worth it. At the end of the day, that person could never truly understand you the way your spouse understands you. So, but you gotta reassure her in the things you say, the way you act, and the things you do. You have to be committed to watching what you look at, what you listen to, and what you dwell on. Because in a world today where pornography is on a rise, where everything is skimpy, where on your social media, you swear that they're playing pornography on social media now. You, as a man, we have to protect our eyes, and so that when we look at our wife, we could see her beauty and that she's getting even more beautiful day after day.
Appreciate his desire for sexual intimacy. Yes, so this particular area is where many times we ignore the fact that a man may have more preference or intentionality in terms of wanting to be intimate with his wife. So when you're engaging with your husband, try to be more intentional in terms of how it is you relate to him. The things that you do, things that you, even the way you dress, because even that is a build up in terms of sexual intimacy. So that's in the bedroom and out of the bedroom. The way you communicate with each other, even though he has to communicate well with you as well, because I mean it's a two-way street in terms of the intimacy. But it means that you have to be intentional and not be grumpy about I don't like sex. Now, if it is you don't like sex, then you need to find out why you don't like sex. It might be some history with some bad experiences. You might need therapy, because how is it could you be married and don't like sex? Now, if it is he's not doing something that you like, then you need to communicate about it. But you can't just ignore the fact that this is something vital and important in a relationship. So you need to discuss it, you need to communicate, you need to engage in it, because trust me, see, when both of you are in sync in terms of sexual intimacy, there's a heightened experience in the relationship. The two persons that they talk about became one. You're more in tune with each other, the bond becomes stronger, the whole dynamics has increased, because you see, when there's less sex, there's more hostility. If you notice, sometimes you go to work with someone and you could tell something is wrong with their marriage or the relationship because they're so angry and flustered. Trust me, that plays so much importance in terms of developing and strengthening that bond in your relationship.
Thank you for your feedback, Salisha. Hope I got your name right. And this topic is so important, and we would not even be able to scrape the surface of this. But we're going to just try to share at least two more points as it relates to showing love and respect for each other. And as it relates to showing love to your woman, your wife, your spouse, help her with daily chores. There is nothing more reassuring that you come home and you see the sink full of dishes, and your first thought is, what has she been doing all day? You ask her, why is there dirty dishes? And you ignore the fact that the food is cooked. She's probably working too. She came home early and cooked food. She had to probably pick up the kids and maybe help them with the Zoom homework or so. But you kind of come home and you see there's dirty dishes, and your first thought is, why is there dirty dishes? Our first thought should now switch to, how can I help my wife to just make this easier for her? So there's one less thing for her to do. Get there, wash the dishes, and to help her with a chore. Look around the house and see, how could I make this easier for her? Because she just said before, you want to get some sex later. She's tired all day. What kind of sex you expect to get in the evening when she's tired? So take at least one of those excuses off the table. Help her with the chores so that she could be a little bit relaxed. Tell her, sweetheart, go take a shower, sweetie, relax, maybe I'm going to take care of this. Man, trust me. You pay for her to go take a massage with her friends and say, hey, sweetie, I'm going to take care of the kids today. And so, you look like you need some relax. I've already paid for a little massage and thing for you. Trust me, when she comes home from that, she's going to want to reward you for taking care of things. So helping out with the chores, there's nothing that tells a woman that you love her more than you just sharing those chores with her.
I like how you brought in the previous point because I was going to highlight it, but at least you brought it in because, as we mentioned, when you correlate in terms of a man doing certain things, it heightens a woman's excitement to want to engage in sexual intimacy. So I like how you brought up the connection. Believe in him. Believe in him. Many times we don't believe in our husbands. Many times we don't trust him. Many times we take him for granted. Many times we think that we can do it better than him. As I mentioned before, we have this negative view of submission because of how the world has perceived it. But you see, when you believe in your husband, trust me, he will become a superhero. You'll be surprised at the kind of things he's going to engage in and perform in because he's like, my wife believes in me. My husband told me he had some ideas and things that he wanted to do. And I'm like, sure, what you want to do? And I'm thinking, I wonder if he really could do it. But if he say he could do it, sure, I think he's brilliant, so go ahead. Oh, I need to get some equipment. All right, I ran up and down, I got the equipment, but you better use the equipment. I believe in him because he has to do it. He say he could do it. But if he ain't do it, we have a problem. So, sometimes you have to believe in your dreams. I mean, if it's going to get you bankrupt, that's a whole different story. We're not talking about spending all your life saving into some hocus pocus dream when you know the man really have no talents. Because, I mean, you could tell if your husband have talents or not. But, I mean, in terms of different situations, you could tell. Women are intuitive. You can tell what your husband is good at and what he's not. And if you could sense, hey, this sounds like a good idea, let me back him, let me support him in this venture. You'll be surprised what you guys can accomplish because, see, you believe in him. Trust me. Superhero there, superhero. You are the backbone of a man. You, the woman. You give him courage when he feels down and vulnerable because you believe in his potential to do great things. Without your support, he can feel less than confident. So we don't realize the power we have as women. We think men are so strong because they don't speak, because society has trained them badly in terms of interacting and becoming vulnerable. But trust me, a man values your opinion. He values how much you value him. He values how you see him. He values how you speak about him, how you praise him. Because for him, that is what makes him feel important as a man. And sometimes we want to take it away from him, but don't take that away from him. Give it to him because when he's a better man, he's a better husband, he's a better provider, he's a better lover, he's a better everything. And you would be so happy that you wouldn't have to want for anything.
All right, so those are our 10 tips, 5 on each side of how to show love and respect for your spouse. Did we miss anything? What are some of the ways that you think you could show love or respect for your spouse? Let us know in the comments so that we could actually maybe add those to another part for this video. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Share it with a friend, share it with a couple, share it with someone that you think may just want to have this conversation and that it could be a benefit for someone. Marriages are falling apart, but it doesn't mean yours have to. Let's continue to fight and fight for marriages. It's a wonderful thing. It's a gift from God, and we want to make sure that there are more people that are actually not just staying married, but striving in their marriage and actually having fulfilling marriages. All right. Thank you for joining us. See you next time. Love and respect.
Bye.